Howie Roseman trading Jordan Matthews to the Buffalo Bills along with a third-round pick for cornerback Ronald Darby proves two things. Number one, this team is all about trying to compete for the NFC East Division Championship this season, and their road to the division title just got a lot easier today with the news of Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension. But maybe even more importantly, and I thought that a lot of people are kind of overlooking in the initial reaction to the Jordan Matthews trade, is the fact that it brings balance to this roster. The Eagles this offseason went out of their way to increase the talent around Carson Wentz, particularly at the wide receiver position, bringing in Alshon Jeffrey, bringing in Torrey Smith, drafting Mac Hollins. They tried with Shelton Gibson. Who knows if that's going to work out from the draft, but it was all about building around Wentz. And by and large, the cornerback position, their biggest need throughout the course of the offseason, was basically a position that they kicked the can down the road one more year by drafting an injured Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas, and bringing in a Band-Aid like Patrick Robinson. Ronald Darby's anything but a Band-Aid. He's 23 years old. He's a legitimate #1 corner. He's going to start right away in Jim Schwartz's defense. And this is the kind of year that the Eagles, with Tim Jernigan along the defensive line, a motivated Brandon Graham, another year with Fletcher Cox, adding that true #1 cornerback is going to pay immeasurable dividends on the back end of this secondary. And it's the type of move that a team that's trying to win and compete for the playoffs this year would make. Jordan Matthews, he's one of, if not the best slot receivers in football. He's the most productive slot receiver in the NFL over the last 3 years, but he's a #3 receiver. You look at Ronald Darby, he's a #1 cornerback at this team's biggest position of need, and the Eagles are plenty deep at wide receiver. They have Alshon Jeffrey, they have Smith, Hollins, Marcus Johnson has had a solid camp, not to mention Zach Ertz is essentially another wide receiver, and they have a running back in Darren Sproles who is pretty adept catching passes out of the backfield. So Howie Roseman, Joe Douglas, the Eagles front office, they all deserve high marks for this trade, and it should provide roster balance and put them in a better position to compete for a playoff spot this year.